Hello friends, thanks again for tuning in and welcome back to the channel. So as you can tell with the title of this video, this is why I am not going to be trading this thing in for a manual Supra. So as you guys have probably already heard, if not, then here you go. Toyota finally announced that they are going to be making a 6-speed version of this car, the MK5 Supra. And a lot of people have been asking me if I'm going to be trading this in once it comes out in the fall. So I know a lot of you guys were kind of bagging on Toyota/BMW for not releasing this car as a manual to begin with. But for you guys shitting on Toyota, now this is the time for you to put your money where your mouth is and actually get this, because I mean, I've heard it so many times now, bagging on why this sucks because it's an auto, but honestly, the ZF8 is one of the shining points of this vehicle. I mean, just overall powertrain in addition to everything. So if you guys haven't watched my other videos, I highly suggest it as to why I love this car so much. So as of the recording of this video, my vehicle has a little over 42,000 miles, almost 43,000 miles. So I've definitely had my chance to enjoy it. So you guys tune into the right video. I'm going to give you guys multiple reasons as to why I'm not, what the pros are for keeping your Supra, your automatic Supra. And if you do still want to get a manual, what the reasons are going to be for switching to a manual. So let's go ahead and hop right to it. So first, we're going to go over why I personally am going to be sticking with the ZF8 transmission in my 2020 Supra. So automatic Supras from 2020 all the way to 2023, and then 2023 onwards, they'll include the manual transmission. I don't know how long Toyota is going to be manufacturing the MK5, but get it while you still can, because I feel like with everything getting the electric treatment, these ICE or internal combustion engines, they're not going to last long, along with a lot of other vehicles that we're used to seeing on the road today. So these are my reasons why. So it's a great daily transmission. I've dailied this car ever since I got it in November 2020, and it's been fantastic. I've driven it so many times down to Dallas, multiple 4-hour drives, 5-hour drives, then driving back home. So this does not stay in the garage all the time. I really drive it. And whenever I run into traffic, the ZF8 performs beautifully. So I have the XHP transmission tune on this, but I can still say with confidence that if you do drive any vehicle with the ZF8, especially this car, you'll be very happy. So with the adaptive cruise control, this car is amazing. I just set the car to the set distance that I wanted to follow the car in front of me, and then I set the speed and the car will do everything. I just have to steer along with the turns. And also it's great because even if you set it to the closest setting, the car is far enough from the vehicle in front of me, or you in this case, to where you won't feel like that if someone does merge into your lane, they're gonna hit you. So it's great technology. And this is kind of one of the reasons why I don't want to daily anything older than cars without adaptive cruise control, is because of that. I'm used to the adaptive cruise control in this car, and it's so great. So that's just the daily characteristics of it. Whenever you're racing, whether it's on the drag strip or the streets in Mexico, of course, it's fast. I mean, just because of the transmission itself, this car can keep up with a lot of other vehicles that are way higher than the power level that you're currently at. So you guys can see on a lot of YouTube channels, for example, Baba Yaga Racing. I mean, whenever he was just bolt-ons, downpipe in an E50 tune for a Mikey body and wizard, he was able to keep up with a lot of twin turbo, supercharged, or even straight up beat them, supercharged Mustangs, Corvettes, you name it. I mean, this is just a straight 6 turbo and the fact that you're keeping up with cars with more cylinders and possibly one additional turbo, I mean, you really can't beat that. So now that he has a bigger turbo, I'm talking about Baba Yaga Racing's vehicle, he has a bigger turbo and a built transmission. I mean, you should see some of the cars that he's beating out there, and it's super, super impressive. So I'm not saying that this car is unbeatable, but because of that transmission and the quick shifts, the car stays in boost. And if you guys already know, if you have experience with cars that have turbos, that's gonna be the game changer, whether you win or lose, is because of that. So that is such a big plus for this car. The fact that it's versatile, you can drive it daily, you can race it, and then it's gonna be perfect for your usage. I mean, what else can you say? And kind of diving a little bit more into tuning the transmission, now that RBT Tuning has provided the XHP transmission tune software, I highly recommend that. So if you guys are wondering, definitely tune in. I'll leave the link to my video where I explain that in detail in the description below. So check that out if you haven't. So those are the reasons why I'm not going to be getting a manual Supra. Not saying that the manual Supra is not going to drive great, but because of me dailying this car and it is my primary vehicle, I'm going to keep my ZF8 Supra. So we'll go over as to why the manual transmission is great, and after that we'll go over as to why you should buy it, and then we'll end it with our conclusions. So now we're in the Supra, and we'll go over the pros of buying a manual Supra. So you guys have heard as to why I'm not, but that doesn't mean that the manual Supra has its pros. So for you personally, for the viewer, if you guys are wondering about the manual Supra, I mean, you really want to buy a manual car because it's engaging and fun. I know that the ZF8 is super smooth, it's super fast in shifting. It's not like the PDK or anything, but in the car community or just any car reviewer, they sing praises of the ZF8. But of course, it's not as fun. So shifting your gears, rowing the gears, that is always great. I've had so many manual cars. I've had an AP1 S2000, I've had a FK8 Civic Type R, I've had so many Subarus, so I cannot deny that manual cars are way more fun. But I mean, if you are just going to have your Supra, your Mark V Supra as your primary vehicle, and you want to have fun every single time you drive it, I mean, just the ergonomics of this car might be a little bit hard to see out of. You know, you can go over the pros and cons of the vehicle. I have a video about that, so I'll link in the description below. I mean, if you combine this modern technology with the features that this car has, and then you add a stick on top of it, ooh, I mean, I would probably drive the car a lot as well. And I know for a fact that BMW makes great 6-speed transmissions. So if you guys go that route, I mean, that reason itself is a huge win. So it might be also cheaper to replace broken parts. So with the ZF8, with all of the technology that is involved in it, if something breaks, then it's very expensive. So I don't know exactly the dollar cost of maintaining a ZF8 if something breaks, replacing it, or even the 6-speed that is going into the Supra. I'm not sure, but just a general rule of thumb is that if something breaks with a manual transmission, typically it's going to be a little bit cheaper. I might have to leave a note down below once the manual Supra has been out, so you guys are aware of the replacement costs. But just those 3 simple reasons: engaging and it's fun. BMW is known to make great 6-speed or just manual transmissions, and then cheaper to replace. Those 3, I mean, that should be convincing enough. So I'm looking forward to actually driving a manual Supra. I actually have a viewer who messaged me sometime last week from the recording of this video, letting me know that, hey, he ordered a manual Supra. It's getting here in September, so I'm looking forward to that. And if I do get a chance to come down there and drive it, I'll make sure to make a video and let you guys know my thoughts of it. Hopefully it doesn't convince me too much to actually trade this in, but I know for a fact right now I am 100% convinced that I will keep this car as a daily because of how great the ZF8 is. So now with all those points being said, let's go over as to why you probably will want the manual if those 3 reasons are not convincing enough. So I'll do a cool angle this time whenever I go over the reasons why you'll want a manual Supra. I'll feature my wheels because I love them so much. T37 Sagas. If you guys want to know my specs, I'll leave my video about that in the description below. So you're wondering, why should I get the manual and why do I want it? So you probably read a bunch of articles or watched a bunch of videos prior to this one. So let me give you guys my thoughts. So first reason, the 3 pros that I mentioned earlier. And second reason, you already have a daily driver that is in your garage. So it's an automatic, maybe it's an SUV, maybe it's a Camry, whatever it is, this is not your primary vehicle. So you have the ability to purchase a car that is modern, that has all those amenities, and is a little bit more fun to drive. So, I mean, just that, honestly, if I do have an SUV where I can just drive it whenever this thing can sit and just not accumulate crazy miles, I would do the same thing. Honestly, I would trade this car in once the manual comes out, and then I'll just, transfer these mods that I have on this car over to that new one. But unfortunately, I'm in a position where that is not the case for me, but there's nothing wrong with that. I'm honestly fine with dailying this thing, putting the miles on it, because that's what I purchased this vehicle for. So some of you guys might be wondering, like, yeah, it's an expensive vehicle. Why are you driving it so much? But honestly, if you're a BMW engineer or a Toyota engineer and you dumped a lot of time into developing this car, you'll want people to drive it. So I'm gonna continue driving this thing, but if it wasn't my daily driver, absolutely. I just really wanna see and compare the 6-speed to the FK8 Type R, and then ultimately the S2000 that I've had. Honestly, personally for me, that was the best driving manual car, period. Just the way that it shifts, it's not too notchy. I read on a forum somewhere, it might be Facebook, where someone was like, it is like a bolt action rifle. And honestly, that seems so accurate. I haven't shot a lot of bolt action rifles. I've had my fair share of shooting bolt action rifles in video games such as Call of Duty or Battlefield, but just that crispy sound, and then just the way that it's so mechanical, it was great. So hopefully the 6-speed in this will be as great as that. And if it is, oh my gosh, I might have some second thoughts. If one of my friends here locally to me ends up getting the 6-speed Supra, I might have to ask them to borrow it, and hopefully they say yes. So it's really exciting that BMW and Toyota finally released and announced the Supra. So, definitely take advantage of it. In addition to those reasons, what my gut is telling me is that the resale value for the 6-speed Supras, they are going to hold their values better than the ZF8 ones. Just because enthusiast cars like this don't exist anymore. I mean, Subaru, they killed off the STI, the internal combustion engine version, and it might come back as a hybrid. Nothing wrong with hybrids, but a lot of the purists, they are going to miss just the ICE vehicles. So I might be one of those guys later down the road. If I don't pick up a 6-speed Mark 5 Supra, I might be regretting not getting one at MSRP. Hopefully they sell it at MSRP, but we'll see. So this, hopefully this video ages well, and that is the case. If not, if for some reason the 6-speed doesn't hold their value as well, then I'll pick one up for cheap, because I always try to find deals. If you're Asian, you're watching this video, you already know what it's like. So last reason out there is maybe you're not trying to be the fastest guy wherever you're at. You're just down to enjoy your car, hear some turbo noises, and you know, you're good with that. If you guys like this content, feel free to give me a thumbs up. Feel free to subscribe, leave your comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.